What's up, fuckers? Welcome back to Silent Hill. How you doing, Max?
I'm doing pretty good tonight. How about yourself?
Shit.
Well, that answers that.
Yeah. No, it's mostly gone. Like, the congestion is nowhere near as bad, but, like, if you've ever had, like, one of these bugs that really likes to just freaking hang on.
Oh, yeah.
Hold on a tick.
Last time I had one of those, of course, I was at Disney World, and it was COVID.
Oh, really?
Which is, I'm going to out myself, but I didn't know it was COVID because
Oh, yeah.
Addie had not COVID about a week before, and then literally the day we're leaving, I start having congestion, and then the plane, as we're landing, makes sure I know that my head is just, like, jacked up.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, oh, I caught what you caught. And then when we got home, she got sick again. It's like, oh, wait. And then she tested positive. It was like,
Oh,
but yeah,
sucks.
that lasted a good week and a half.
Yeah.
And it fucking sucked.
So
And,
this
yeah.
I'm 99% sure wasn't COVID, but it was definitely like an early flu.
Yeah. It's the worst. Like, yeah, when it affects your voice. But for me, it's just the congestion where you just can't breathe
Yeah.
is the worst part of it.
Yeah, like I'm an asthmatic anyways, so like anything to do with like chest congestion just doubly sucks on my end.
Oh, yeah.
My asthma has not been bad in a really long time. Like I don't really even need the rescue inhaler anymore,
Yeah.
except when I get the flu.
Okay, yeah. Then it just flares up the old, what do you call it?
Lungs?
Inflammation response
Yes,
and all
yeah.
that good stuff. Yeah. Mm.
I haven't had to use like the nebulizer in a long time either.
I was about to say, I remember you had, like, at least when you were a kid, and I know that's how it goes in
Oh, yeah.
childhood with asthma, is that you had to use that all the time.
Oh yeah, and like everyone in my
Nebulizer.
family smoked like chimneys, so like it
Oh,
was,
that's true too. Yeah.
yeah. Not that they were like actively trying to do me harm. It was just like, you know,
It's also the 90s.
it was the 90s, yeah. Like you could
Weird
still
how-
smoke in restaurants and
Yeah. Weird how things, like, the whole world just changes. Like,
yep. Totes.
we're only like a decade away from being like, there
Yeah, I
was
was
no
gonna say,
internet.
and like who knows?
James,
You know,
fuck.
Trump wins the election. We may go way back. Oh hey, how are you doing there? What the
What the
I have no
hell?
quarrel with you.
Thanks for the heads up,
Ah,
Maria.
You hold still, Maria.
God. I'll save you.
Look, I know what this looks like. How many pukers are there? I just wanted the bullets out of the backseat of that car.
You're gonna have to earn them
Yeah,
by
I guess
shooting
so.
these fuckers.
There we go.
Run away, not today. It's like, oh, there's a gold Skulltella that just went by.
Do 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 do.
Oh, what
Oh
was
my
I?
God!
What the hell? The whole town came alive.
So what I'm doing right now is I thought I was being smart. There's a part where you come back to this area later in
Yeah.
the game, and it's like pitch black, and it's really annoying to go back and forth.
Yeah.
Shit!
Wow. Ooh.
You kidding me right now?
I don't know why the sounds of that one just really.
Oh my god! What the frick?
Unless this is like, I doubt it, but like when you were going into the apartments and the headwinds came on and there was a whole bunch of enemies, like.
Well, that's actually gonna happen soon, but this ain't it. Or it shouldn't be. Crap.
It's like there's parts of the game where it's just like, hey, you didn't kill these guys; they're still here, or something. But that really just amped up when you got the whatever the heck you got, a jack or something.
Yeah. Well, so again, I wanted to do this part early because I figured out later in the game how to do
That
it.
it sucks.
Well, it doesn't suck. There are no enemies, and I just assumed it would be the same. No enemies.
Okay,
Gotcha.
gotcha.
Shit. Okay, well, lesson learned.
Lesson. It only took almost dying.
You sure that's a good idea?
No, I'm not
Yeah.
sure, Maria.
Yeah, it's
I am not sure.
Give me a minute.
Do not know what's gonna jump out at me now.
Hey, you okay in there?
Yeah.
Can you let
Hold
me
on.
in?
Hold on. God knows you'll get jumped by something if I don't.
Yeah.
Okay, well, at least this part's the same. No, there don't appear to be enemies in here.
Anything good in here?
As good as it gets.
Health. Good.
I'll be fine.
You're getting some good amount of ammo, I guess. Oh, nice.
Nice and coked up,
Take your medicine.
right?
He's he has not healed himself once, which I guess he hasn't. There's no bandages or anything.
No,
You're just like probably amped up on amphetamines.
Yeah, right. It's just pure adrenaline.
He's just playing through the pain.
James has like
I don't
6
even feel-
broken ribs and like
I
an
don't feel
infection,
anything anymore.
right? But hey, it don't fucking hurt. Now watch, like all those monsters have made their way over here.
Nope, not.
I was not. Okay, well. So when you play through this game, just so you know, maybe it's kind of like worth waiting until you come back to this zone the second time to get the jack.
And was there anything important you got in there? You got a crap ton of health and ammo. But...
Yeah, it's just like extras, but
Okay,
yeah.
all right. Which, I mean, I would say for how much you got, it's worth it.
yeah, I'd say so.
Even with the enemies you had. But yeah, I guess if there's nothing, later on. Now, what is this? Little residence.
So we don't come here until later either, but it is creepy to look at. There's that fucking monkey.
Oh, is this the bed and breakfast?
Yes,
Okay.
I believe so. So, full disclosure, I still haven't beaten this just because of how freaking sick I've been.
Yeah.
But I'm getting there.
You know what's funny is I see this and I'm like, ooh, I really want to. There's like a shit ton of games I want to buy right now.
Mm-hmm. Dude.
And
My
I might
backlog.
start playing Silent Hill 1.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
It's not a bad. That's
No,
not a
it's
bad one to revisit.
it's still my favorite. And one of the only ones that I've actually played. Like,
Well, yeah, I was gonna say I actually
It does feel
just randomly turned that game on my
memory.
whatchamacallit,
It's
my
Yeah.
Ambernick
yeah,
the other day, and it is good. Like it was definitely like graphically way ahead of its time on the PS1. Like it pulled some cool stuff. But oh my gosh, like if you haven't played a PS1 era survival horror in a while, those controls will get you.
oh yeah,
Like even just like classical Resident Evil 1 style, like which you and I grew up on and are used to, but
yeah.
it takes a while like just to adjust yourself to the combat. Like it's a totally different ballpark than
Yeah, I have to remember because I was kind of thinking in my head, yeah, a dual stick analog, and I don't know
Mhm.
if it does have that option because Resident Evil, it took a long time to add that option,
yeah.
and
And for the tank controls, I still prefer the D-pad over the joysticks.
What's that?
if I'm doing take controls, yeah, D-pad
It
for
feels
sure,
a little too loosey-goosey with the joysticks.
for sure, especially in the games that introduce like the quick turn and stuff.
Mhm.
I want something a little more tactile,
Yeah, same. And like even games like Metal Gear Solid and Metal Gear Solid 2, where like a large part of the game is like pressing against the wall and like waiting enemies out. I strongly prefer the D-pad for that just because I feel like I'm not going to slip.
Oh, could you do the D-pad in Metal Gear Solid 2?
Yeah. For not Snake Eater, that was 3, but Sons of Liberty, yeah, you could totally do D-pad, and that's honestly
I know there's like a transition period.
It was,
of,
and like the concept of 3D was so relatively new, and like we take for granted like the dual analog sticks, and like this is just the way that camera controls are supposed to work, but that's not at all how it was.
No, it was starting to in the PS2 era, but even still, they didn't quite have the camera
right.
down.
It wasn't like a free like circular camera like this. It was like you had sort of fixed camera angle, but you could pan the camera around it a little bit.
There was that. Some games like Kingdom Hearts started doing like the full.
Yes, Kingdom
full
Hearts
thing.
did. FF12 did, but more like near the mid to end of the generation.
Wait, what?
Cutscene.
Strange.
Okay.
Here's where the
You
town
broke too many
actually
windows.
tries to kill me.
This should
You
not-
got the too many windows broken ending.
Well,
Right.
It is. So, what now?
Haven't had a Mai Tai in a couple of weeks either. This
Now
is
nice.
nice.
Look for another way.
Uh-oh.
Truck just comes out of the
Right,
fog.
yeah.
That would be fucked
Why'd he
up.
bite me?
Why you bite me?
That guy's a maniac.
That's a maniac.
Why'd he bite me? I wish I had kept that line in the RE2 remake.
James?
Oh, by the way, you remember what I was saying before about the wooden plank and how that carries you through the whole game? I was totally wrong. You got the lead pipe right here.
Oh, okay.
He uses the plank to barricade the door,
Okay, gotcha.
and then he gets the lead pipe, which is I guess a slight upgrade.
It must be Silent Hill 1 I'm thinking about, that there's a crowbar. Or maybe that's a lead pipe as well.
It is a lead pipe at the beginning, but you might be right. Maybe there's a crowbar you get. You also get a knife, which is useless.
Oh, in the first one?
Yeah, you get like a just like a kitchen knife, and
Okay.
it's terrible. It has no range. Hang on, Maria. A quick ammo check. All right, now I'm just gonna try to sprint through this zone. I'll probably miss a
That's the
few
way to
items,
do
but
it.
like what I would end up saving makes it worth it.
Yeah, sections like this, like the beginning of Silent Hill 1 in the alley, with the tank controls, not fun.
Yeah.
That kind of added to the horror a little bit. It's like, how do I play? What do I do?
Yeah, absolutely.
Gotta pause
And
it.
honestly, there is like that sense of panic that just kind of, oh, fuck,
Oh, come on.
I regret nothing.
I regret. No, you needed those bullets. Oh, yeah, that helps.
Ooh. Whoa. Whammy, wham, wham, wazzle. Bullets, 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 bullets. Nope.
Through the...
Hey, where are we going, Maria? Come on. You told
Oh,
me.
right there?
There we go.
There we go.
All right. That wasn't so bad. I only got hit once.
No.
That's one of
And
those sections
imagine-
where, like, if you choose to fight your way through it, you can, but, like, you're going to waste a lot of resources.
No, why would you?
Yeah.
Especially places like Resident Evil, a lot of that game, or most of the early games, was about, like, okay, how many times am I going to come back here? You know?
Mhm.
Silent Hill, though, you know, the outside sections especially, I feel like most things can be avoided, but Resident Evil was
Yeah.
much more cramped.
Yes. Yeah, and there they gave you kind of like a nice open area. Like they kind of encouraged you to dodge a little bit, I think, instead
Yeah.
of fight.
Especially the second one too, but especially the first game. Just fucking... Oh, and when they added, God, I still love and hate the first game's remake for the reason of the Crimson Heads.
Oh,
Whatever they call
in
the Crimson-
RE1, yeah.
Fuck those things.
Dude, did you see the random ass like ode to horror trailer that Capcom just released?
No. When?
So it's just it was all it was announcing a sale on the Resident Evil franchise.
Oh, okay.
Like, so if you download the games digitally, you can save big right now because it's almost Halloween.
Okay.
But they
Sweet.
did Beethoven's Ode to Joy, but over, the Resident Evil games. And honestly, I thought it was like a series tribute that was going to culminate in like either a Code Veronica announcement or even a RE1 remake announcement.
Yeah.
But it didn't.
Yeah.
But they played
still
with
check
you
it out,
just a
though.
little bit. And I was like, ooh, are they gonna? Nope. But if there's any games you don't own on your Steam Deck yet, now's the time.
Let's see. I don't own Resident Evil 3 remake.
It wasn't as bad as people said.
I mean, for the right price.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It probably feels even more like a DLC of the RE2 remake than the original did.
I mean, the original, because I was surprised to hear it was shorter than RE2, because I remember RE3 being longer.
It's shorter than the original game.
Oh, yeah. Well, the original game was kind of long. Because it was
Yeah,
like,
it
you
wasn't
played
like
almost...
huge.
It wasn't like, it wasn't Code Veronica. It definitely wasn't Code Veronica.
It wasn't even 2. There wasn't as much replayability.
Oh, really? Oh, yeah. I get you.
It was a full game. And
yeah.
And so is the remake, but it is nowhere near, like, you can tell it was rushed out to capitalize on the goodwill of the RE2 remake a little bit.
Yeah.
And
to annualize, like, hey,
yeah,
we got
felt,
one this
it felt
year.
just a scooch cynical, and I think that's what people disliked about it.
Gotcha.
Hello?
But overall, I liked it. It plays good. It looks amazing. Nemesis is awesome, but there's nowhere near enough of him. Like, I think you get more Mr. X in RE2 than you get Nemesis in his own freaking game.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah.
Like, Nemesis shows up for, like, scripted boss fights throughout the game, but there's only, like, 1 or 2 sections where he's, like, really dogging you through town. Which is,
okay.
You know, that was kind of like the whole concept that I feel like inspired them to remake 3, is because Mr. X was so well received in RE2, and like that was the part that everybody wrote about, was how intense it was when he was chasing you through the police station.
Yeah,
like
that's true.
I kind of figured, well, like, okay, if they remake 3, it's going to be like 75% of the game is just like Nemesis hounding you, and you've got to like, they could have done like really creative things, like you could set cameras up or something and like see where he is and like
Maria?
adjust your navigation accordingly or something like that. But
oh yeah,
no, they
be
did
down
nothing
for that,
like that.
because RE3 already had a little bit more of the action. Like it introduced the barrels, the explosive barrels, the quick turn and stuff.
Yep. And those are all still there, and you get like a kind of a bare bones dodge mechanic, but it is not as ambitious or even close to as the RE2 remake was.
Yeah.
And
I was just
but that in and of itself does not a bad game make.
Okay.
It's still a good game. It was fun to play through, and like Nemesis is so intimidating that the few parts where he is like on your tail are just nerve-wracking.
Yeah.
Because he is unstoppable.
I really appreciate. I mean, one, just the RE2 remake, what it did with Mr. X was a big surprise.
Yeah, that was so cool.
But even just the original RE3, it was so cool that they were like, it was almost like they were melding the what made Clock Tower really scary and interesting. You know, of just having Nemesis constantly chasing you. You know.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know.
But yeah, it's still a fun game, and it's still definitely worth owning.
This place, this whole thing, it's like
if I could go back, I probably wouldn't have pre-ordered it just for the Steelbook edition, but you know, it's kind of cool to have on my shelf.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And it was one of the few like pre-order bonuses that didn't like cost anything extra. It's just like, hey, if you pre-order this through Best Buy, we're gonna throw in a Steelbook. And I'm like, cool.
I'm gonna miss that they're really getting out of physical media, because I mean, Best Buy always did the Steelbooks.
Honestly, unless it's a game like a Final Fantasy title where I really want to own a special edition, I'm buying my games almost purely digitally right now, because honestly, in the future, I don't see consoles continuing in the way that we know them. I kind of see them almost more as like like we were talking about previously, like an Xbox Live kind of service where like, hey, you can play the Sony games on your PC by downloading the Sony store or getting Sony Live, or you can play Xbox Live, or I think that's kind of how consoles are going. I still think
something to take the edge off.
That Sony, Microsoft, and definitely Nintendo will continue to make hardware, but I think it's going to become more and more generic, and I think it's all going to be based on the Steam Deck. Like, so you can have a device that's like the controller of your choice with a built-in screen and some basic hardware, but if you hook it up to your PC or get the dock, you're going to get like the more high horsepower experience.
Yeah.
I think that's the way consoles are going to go.
I agree.
And it's going to be all
like
digital.
docks.
Like, you're just going to have a big old SD card built in or something.
Yeah. I agree. There'll probably, be the docks and the things to like get what's local on the portable thing to the TV. But they'll still have like the console / PC part of it, and they're all going to have the ability to like stream locally.
Yeah.
Like kind of how the what is the PS5 Portal does?
Yeah, the Portal, which is all cloud gaming.
You are.
Which I don't think we're quite there yet. Maybe probably by the time we're in our 50s or so, like cloud gaming will have matured and will just be like how it's all done. I'm guessing.
Yeah. Well,
but
the Portal...
I think we've got like another solid console generation or two ahead of us. But I think it's, like I said, it's going to be much more geared around the Steam Deck model.
Does the Portal do cloud gaming? Because I know it
does
at least
exclusively cloud gaming. It does not have any physical hardware built into it. It's just a screen and an internet connection.
Yeah.
And a PS5 controller.
But I thought it was exclusively not cloud, but like in the house, like near field communication, Bluetooth, whatever.
No, you can do it on the internet from a distance.
Oh, okay.
Yep. I think it works best when it's like parked next to your PS5, but...
Okay, like streaming directly, not through the Wi-Fi, or I guess Wi-Fi. I guess it would be local Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
Okay. But you can stream games like from the cloud service as well, like do what do you call it? Like they do with the... I don't even know how PS Plus works anymore. Like if they have like an Xbox Live or an Xbox a Game Pass kind of thing.
You know,
on their
I don't know.
premium.
Like after they jacked up the prices, I actually unsubscribed from PlayStation Plus because I just wasn't playing enough of the games. And like, if there's something I really want to do with it, I might resubscribe. But right now, they've kind of lost my business on that one. I thought it was pricey to begin with, and then to make it more expensive just so that like to kind of like nudge customers to go for like the $10 more ultra premium edition, like that just rubbed me the wrong way. So I backed
me too.
out.
And it was like you said, the biggest thing is just like even the base
I'm not sure.
thing. It's not like, oh, I want more. It was more like, no, this is just expensive.
It was expensive.
Like, give me less, even, and I'll pay less. Like I'd be down for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was. So I unsubscribed when they did that too.
And you know, like that was kind of part of my like the renaissance of like enough is enough with streaming. Like I was subscribed to so many services. I'm like, wait a minute. Like I might as well fucking have a cable subscription right now, which I wouldn't use, but like that's what I'm paying. So
yeah,
like I basically just cut it down to my Apple One subscription, which gives me all the cloud storage for my photos, my music, and my fitness app. Mm-hmm. And then I do like one streaming service, which right now is HBO Max, but changes whenever there's something we want to watch. Disney Plus is actually included through my cell phone plan because we do a family unlimited plan. So
does that include Hulu as well?
What's that?
Does that include Hulu as well? Or?
It does actually. You get like the whole Disney. You get ESPN, Hulu, and Disney Plus. It's actually a pretty good deal if you're getting a family plan and unlimited data, anyways.
For sure.
So,
now that they have Hulu, it was like because just Disney Plus, even with the Marvel stuff, it's like I don't know if this justifies. Like that first year, it was pretty cheap, so it's like okay. But like, now that they have Hulu,
I'm not super crazy about Verizon as a company. Their customer service leaves a lot to be desired sometimes. But when nothing's going wrong, and it's just the service itself, I mean I like it just fine. It's a legitimately good deal. I see you.
Oh hey.
You think she was hiding?
They're here. That's very crunchy. Splat.
Oh no. Oh, come on, James. Come on, Sonny Jim. There we go.
There we go.
No damage. Just took us a little while to get there.
Splort.
Splort.
This is a nice DC comic sound effects.
Splap.
Splap.
Dude, do you know what just came out like a week ago?
Huh.
You're going to have to check this out the next time you go to your local bookstore. Someone freaking wrote a really high profile novel that is an official sequel to the 1989 Batman movie.
Oh, that's
it comes between Batman and Batman Returns.
Okay, that's very interesting.
It's called Batman universe. Rebirth, and I am going to be reading the hell out of it as soon as I finish my current project.
A novel, you said?
Yeah, a novel.
Interesting.
And not like a trashy paperback, $5, like What If universe kind of thing. Like a straight up canonical continuation of the 1989 Batman film that kind of segues into Batman Returns, but is like its own self-contained story.
Yeah.
And so it like straight up is the Keaton Batman.
That's pretty cool.
And it's like apparently really freaking good from what I've been able to gather.
Man, I wish the DC cinematic portion of DC like was as good as the rest of DC.
I know, right? DC
they have some
has
good
such
ideas.
cool ideas. They just could never seem to get their movie making straight.
I think Marvel got in their head with the MCU. It's just like, we us too.
Which is kind of ironic because the MCU is now like in the middle of sort of an identity crisis.
Yeah. Weirdly enough, like I haven't been interested to watch like any of the shows for like 2 years or so.
I kind of want to watch Agatha All Along though.
Actually, I was just gonna mention like we started watching that, and I'm only 3 episodes in. But it's pretty good. It's not like
just because
fantastic.
I can't think of her name off the top of my head, but the actress who plays Agatha, she's so freaking good. And then it's got Aubrey Plaza, and you know how I feel about Aubrey Plaza.
Oh yeah. Oh my god. And yes, Aubrey Plaza is very hot.
Yes, she is my like celebrity get out of jail free list.
But I can't remember the actress's name either. I know she was on Parks and Rec.
Parks and Rec and WandaVision, of course. That's where she debuted as Agatha. But yeah, like she does a lot of good roles. And I'm blanking on her name hard, but yeah, I would watch that.
But yeah, DC everything else they do is I mean the comics obviously, which I hardly read any comics anymore.
Same.
But they've always been like, and you always hear about people just like fucking gushing over, when any new like Batman line of comics comes out, or some crossover or something.
I think Batman is the reason I'm geeking out so hard about this novel is I firmly feel like Batman is at his best when he's in a series of like borderline unrelated serials. Like I do not need like a continuous ongoing Batman mythos. I just need Batman to show up and like solve the mystery of the week. That's when I think Batman is at his best.
Yeah.
When he's just presented with like a really screwed up one-off situation and like he has to get to the bottom of it. That's Batman for me.
Yeah. It's a strong character, and they don't have to mess with him too much.
No. And like he's so established too that like you don't need to keep. I think that's why I enjoyed the Pattinson Batman so much, is because it went to great pains not to even flirt with an origin story. It's just like, here's true. Batman, he's relatively new. They kind of established
I was about to say,
timeline.
it's kind of early in him being Batman.
He's still rough around the edges, but it's just like its own self-contained story. And that's, and I thought it was real. Like, I'm of the opinion that movie was Dark Knight good.
Yeah, like I need to watch it again. I did not. I definitely enjoyed it. I think for me, I'm like so attached to the Nolan movies.
Yeah,
I think there's some stubbornness there where it's just like no. I mean, obviously the Snyder like.
But like with 10 years now between us and the last Nolan movie, what I'm convinced is that series' greatest strengths.
What's that?
It's restraint. It knew when to quit. Like it quit right before it had nowhere to go except for kind of like the silly parts of the Batman story. And even then there were some parts with Bane where like I thought The Dark Knight Rises was good, but I get some of the criticisms about it. And I feel like if they had made a 4th movie, they would have had no choice but to go even further into that territory.
I agree because it's like it was grounded in realism.
Yes.
More than like the MCU. Like the MCU started out that way with Iron Man.
Yeah,
but it's just like more and more as it and this was fine. It was great in the what do you call it? Like Avengers series 1, 2, and 3, where it's just like they go to space with Thor, and then it just keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and that's fine.
But you don't
what I
want
liked
that
about the
for
Nolan
Batman.
movies, no. And that's the thing is like when they started to do like the DCEU, that's what they were trying to do.
Yeah.
And yes, I know it's like this it's supposed to be this universe, but the Nolan movies felt very separated.
Yes, they were absolutely grounded in their own concrete reality. And I feel as much as I still like Dark Knight Rises. I feel like that stretched it to its limit. Like Bane was as comic booky of a villain as you could get in that series and get away with it.
Yeah. Like you said, a fourth movie, I think especially because it's the most personal Batman movies I can think of, more so than Pattinson's Batman, is that Nolan's Batman had, especially because of, what's her name? Rachel.
Yeah.
Her dying in the second movie and everything.
Yeah.
Like, he had such a personal arc.
Yeah.
Between
from
Batman
Begins
to Rise.
You're right. They actually told that Batman's complete story. And I thought it was stronger for it. It had a firm beginning, a firm middle, and a firm end.
Yes, and because of that firm end, a fourth movie, it would feel a little off the rails.
Absolutely.
And it would feel like, wait, I think they could have done more in Batman. Now I'm forgetting the name. Rises? Yeah, Batman Rises. Dark Knight Rises. There it is. They could have done more with showing how broken he was physically and everything.
Yeah.
But they showed, okay, he has these little fucking leg things.
Yeah.
Bane
it was
broke
fine.
him
It was
even
just
more.
enough, right?
And he had a cane. Yeah. So
it was just enough.
It would be very unbelievable to have a fourth movie to be like, this man his body can't take anymore. Actually, now I just reminded myself, the stream is being weird. Can you still hear me?
Yes, I can. Are you good?
Okay, good. I can hear you.
I don't know what just happened there. Like my TV suddenly decided it was HDR time.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
What is going on here? Stop.
What the fuck?
I don't know.
This is some Eternal Darkness shit all of a sudden. There we go.
Oh, it's iTunes. Fuck you, iTunes. Get out of here. What are you doing?
Siri's listening.
What
They're downloading the new U2 album to your PC.
Well, yeah, honestly, that was... Wow. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and... I had to install them for some kind of... I forget what it was. There was some update deal I did with my MacBook a little while ago, and for some reason I needed iTunes.
Yeah. But when you have something full screen...
But man, I forget how insistent upon themselves Apple can be sometimes. Oh, yeah.
That is super intrusive. Like, no, when you have anything that, you're playing full screen, like...
Like, you do not want that interrupted. Yeah. Like, full screen means everything else needs to butt right out.
Yeah. It should prioritize. Windows should prioritize that.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
So I want to go back real quick to what I enjoyed so much about the Robert Pattinson series.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it'll be a series, but for right now, it's just the one film.
Yeah.
But it could be one film, or in the format that they've established, it could be 5 or 6 films. It doesn't need to move an overarching plot forward. And that's what I've always wanted out of Batman movies, are a series of serials that revolve around like the villain of the week. Because that's where I think Batman is strongest.
And that's exactly what it was. Like, you had some of Pattinson, you had a little bit of Pattinson, what's going on with Bruce Wayne here, but it was definitely more about the villains and what's going on with the story.
He was just the vehicle to carry the plot forward. He was not the center of his own story, and I thought that was a really good take.
Yeah, and speaking of the story,
especially because of how much they nailed the ambiance and the noir aspect of Gotham in that one. Like, I thought
it was the
really
most
well done.
Noir since the first
since Burton.
Burton Batman, yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And in a different way, but still very much noir.
Sinister Toilets.
Wait, what?
Sinister Toilets.
Oh, what do you call it? But yeah, and who are the villains? So I know it was Riddler and Penguin. Was there anyone else in that movie?
Well, and now Penguin's got his own series because the guy who played him was so good.
Yeah.
Why can't I think of his name?
Yeah, I wouldn't know
well,
who the actor is.
It's not who you would think it would be. Like, they put so much prosthetics on him, but it looks so good. Colin something.
Oh, is it Colin? Not Farrell.
No, I think you might be right.
Or Colin Firth or something?
I think you were right with Farrell, actually, for some reason. You can look it up, but I think you were right. But anyways,
the interesting take on the Penguin, by the way.
Yes, he was great. Oh my god, the banter with him and Batman and Gordon, that was so well done.
Yeah.
But so anyways, going back to my final thought on that is what I would like to see is maybe like,
yeah, it's Colin Farrell. You're right.
Yeah, Colin Farrell. 2 or 3 more movies where it's just like, we've already done the Riddler, so why not like the Two-Face? Why not, if you're keeping like a really realistic kind of atmosphere, maybe not Mr. Freeze, but I think Mr. Freeze could be done in a good way, which hasn't been done on film before. But then like culminate it with the Joker. Like instead of making him like the thing that everything is revolving around in, like have him show up late in the game to just like turn everything on its head and do like the Long Halloween storyline where like he spends 3 movies arresting these guys and getting them behind bars, but then in the 4th movie the Joker shows up and breaks them out. So like instead of him being like a physical menace, he just like serves as the means by which all of the other villains are turned loose on the city.
Gotcha. Which I'm not familiar with the Long Halloween
oh my
story.
God, read the Long Halloween. I think the Long Halloween might be my favorite comic book ever.
Oh, okay.
But I would love to see them do that. Just like spend maybe 2 more movies building up this universe and then have it culminate where like Batman is faced with like his nightmare scenario where like all of these like it keeps escalating and escalating and escalating, and then finally it's just like more chaos than he can possibly deal with, and like who knows, maybe do something different from the Dark Knight and like have him straight up get hurt and retire afterwards.
Okay.
Yeah. Like I'd be down for that. Like it would fit with the even more grounded than the Nolan universe rules that they've set for this series.
Yeah, it's like the Riddler was it wasn't fucking Jim Carrey in a question mark. No,
he was just
suit.
He was just the freaking Zodiac. Is all.
Yeah, basically, yeah, and which is like if you're gonna do a Riddler in a grounded universe, modern, that's the way to do it. Yeah,
yeah. The one and only thing that I didn't like about that was its final act where it did kind of become a slugfest. Like he pumped himself full of, and I get that like the whole point of that scene was to show that he was sort of kind of losing control a little bit and he needed to decide whether he was going to be just like a vigilante or if he was actually going to stand for something.
Yeah.
Like I get the point of that scene, but I thought it could have been done differently. Like I feel like as methodical as the rest of the movie was, he didn't need to show up and take out like an entire amphitheater worth of goons.
Okay. I gotta watch that movie again.
I thought it was phenomenal. It may be tied for my favorite Batman flick.
It's a good one, and I definitely liked that. How I feel like the older movies, especially Bruce Wayne, kind of took a backseat. Mm-hmm. In the Nolan movies, it was kind of half and half, but still mostly Batman.
Yeah,
and I don't know how they do it in Pattinson's. It's just like they both kind of had their place,
Yeah,
like
I said, I mean, I'll say it one more time. I think Batman as a character is at his best when he's not the center of his own story.
Yeah,
but like it should be. Like Bruce Wayne, who is a human, has to figure out like a creative and insightful way to deal with like these larger than life situations that are unraveling around him.
Yeah.
And all he has are his brains and a whole lot of money.
Did they ever do an animated? Because the animated movies, the Batman animated movies, are fantastic.
There are some good animated Batmans, but
did they ever do a Court of Owls one? I don't think so.
Actually, that was actually one of the early theories that I read about this new Batman series with Robert Pattinson. Was that they are setting up the Court of Owls, and I think that could be kind of cool.
Yeah, I think that would be cool, and it's just like,
how would they to see them less as a Illuminati kind of conspiracy, and more as like a hyper organized syndicate.
I mean, that's kind of how they'd have to, because like the Court of Owls in the comics, they were around for hundreds of years.
Yeah,
and that would be kind of like
it would feel a little too much like they were retreading the League of Shadows.
Yeah.
Which, like, I don't know why Batman needed 2 eternal crime syndicates to to face off against, but, you know.
Stop! It's dangerous.
All right, we're going to the hospital, Max.
Oh shit.
But yeah.
But yeah,
so,
League of Shadows, and then I'm not alone in that, obviously, but
Did you see that girl?
Yeah,
one of my favorite Batman stories.
yeah.
that way. We can
And I
just
thought
back-
the only thing is, though, I don't think they should ever film Ra's al Ghul again just because Liam Neeson did it. I mean, I'm just saying, like,
I mean, he was good.
there's not too many actors where I'll be like, you know, once they've played the part has been played. But Liam Neeson, like, who's gonna come along and top Liam Neeson for a debonair Batman villain? Like, no one.
And I liked the take because the only thing I've seen Ra's al Ghul, I mean, he was always debonair, that's true, but he at least in the animated show seemed a little not loony. What's the word?
Or like in the Arkham
like a
games where like his
caricature.
immortality has made him a little bit off kilter.
Where is he in the Arkham games?
Oh, he's in
Is
like
he in
the
every
second
game?
one. He's a boss fight.
He's in City. Okay, gotcha.
And he serves as like the climax for that. Remember when he and
Oh, I know next to nothing about City. Or
hold on, I'm remembering City, right? Yeah,
no,
absolutely.
you probably
where at
are.
the end he and Strange get thrown off the tower.
I mean, I'll take your word for it. I don't know much about the beats
Hugo
in
Strange would be another good one for the Pattinson universe.
Hugo Strange.
The one
What was
who's
his
so
deal?
smart that he figures out who Batman is.
Huh. Why can't I don't know who that is.
I mean, he's the central villain of Arkham City. Just play the game.
Yeah, and he's
Like the best
Okay.
Batman game ever made.
gotcha. I mean, yeah, I've heard
And honestly,
Arkham
like,
City.
I didn't know much. Like, I didn't get enough into the Batman comics to, like, really know who Hugo Strange was, other than, like, he's, like, the hyper genius foil to Bruce Wayne.
Okay.
But, like, whereas
Yeah,
the Riddler is, like, self-obsessed and narcissistic, like, Hugo Strange, like, he employs his genius for, like, what he sees as the common good, and he just happens to see the common good as, like, we need to stop Batman.
He's not like has the narcissistic tendencies of the Riddler.
Right. Like, he's not even in the technical sense a villain, except that he is on the opposite side of Batman.
Gotcha.
But, like, you can... he's nuanced enough where, like, you can see his point. Like, yeah, like, imagine if everybody who had a chip on their shoulder just suited up and started taking out criminals.
Yeah.
And so, like, that's the whole point of his character. And I thought
Okay.
that... And I think in Pattinson, where you have his take on Bruce Wayne in that movie is very clearly unwell.
Yeah.
like he's getting better. Like by the end of the movie, there's like that glimmer of like the hero Batman.
Mm-hmm.
But like you still only have his word to take for it. But like
Yeah.
like when they go into a sequel, if they were to introduce a character like Hugo Strange, I think it could be a really strong case for like, well, you know, maybe Batman is doing good, or maybe he's just delusional and, you know, most of what he's doing does more harm than good. And like Hugo Strange, like kind of asks that moral question.
Okay. Yeah,
I think
can
that
see
could
it.
be
Like
a really cool take.
With Pattinson's Batman, where it is like the chip on
Where
his
like
shoulder.
you're not sure if he's okay.
Yeah.
right?
And it's just like, is he doing okay? Is this the right thing? Like, because he needs to do the right thing, or because he's just acting like he's angry? You know?
He's angry still. Yeah. And I think like if they write the script in the right way, Hugo Strange could absolutely make Pattinson's Batman be like, okay, I do need to, you know, realize that this thing is bigger than just like my grudge against the city or whatever.
Yeah.
All right, hospital time.
That
Welcome
is a
to
push
hell.
and pull because then obviously Batman is a central part of the story.
Yeah.
But yeah, like you said, they could do a few movies, and you know,
But yeah, I
it
think
doesn't always have to be
culminating
that
with
way.
the long Halloween would be great. Like maybe do it like a slow burn where like every movie like the villain gets progressively more out of
Personal?
control. Like, so you get the Riddler who's, just like they played him as kind of like an incel who was out to just like tear apart society. You could have Hugo Strange, who is, again, just like this hyper genius and just wants to challenge the very necessity of Batman. And then, like, you culminate with maybe the Joker, finally, who in this universe is less of like a physical threat and more like he's just like the pure chaotic reaction to Batman's presence, and he makes him wonder if it's like really worth doing it at all.
Yeah.
And like because each one then has like a different, like, instead of a physical challenge for him, like a psychological challenge.
Yeah, that's true.
And I think as a trilogy that could work really well.
Yeah. God, we should be writing this shit.
Yeah, we should. But I do think that the whole reason they went into like the more detective-based story is because that's the kind of thing they want to do. The question just becomes is like, how long will it last, and how much restraint is Warner Brothers willing to show before they're like, no, we just need Batman versus Bane round 2.
Yeah.
Like, I can easily see them doing that too.
Yeah, you can't trust Hollywood very much to build these things slowly.
Especially because of how like unsuccessful DC as a franchise has been on film.
Yeah.
I kind of feel like you're right. They're still in this mode of like needing to one-up Marvel. And if like Batman is going to be their only currently successful franchise, then they're just going to have to make him as over the top as possible. And I would hate to see that for the Pattinson films.
Yeah, because that's not what that was. Like,
no,
much so.
It should not devolve into that.
Yeah.
Boy, this episode took a weird turn. We're just going full Batman.
That's fun. I mean, hey, talking about if there's any kind of scary superhero, I guess.
Dude, we got so much shit going into this.
Or Spawn or something, yeah. Which I was never a big fan of Spawn, although the live-action movie wasn't bad.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, I didn't mind the 90s flick. I mean, the CGI hasn't aged, but what has?
Yeah.
In the 90s. Yeah, Spawn was a weird one. I think my least favorite comic book franchise is The Punisher. Just because of how much like the incel like Second Amendment crowd kind of leans into his iconography.
For sure. And I don't know much about the Punisher,
but I did think he was done well in the Daredevil series.
Oh yeah, for sure.
But I thought what was good about him was the fact that he had to stand trial for being a huge over the top asshole.
Oh, in the series, yeah, in the Netflix series. Yeah.
I actually think that's why Punisher was so good, was because it's like, hey, you shouldn't be doing what the fuck you're doing.
Yeah. And the Netflix series before Disney, like they were very much more like street level, not these huge, powerful superheroes.
I loved that Marvel was like still doing like multifaceted, like, we've got the movies, but we've also got like this just off the wall R-rated Netflix stuff going on at the same time.
Yeah, Daredevil was seasons 1 and 3 were so good. I mean, it was all good.
Yeah.
But season 1 was just like fantastic. It's like, oh shit, man, Marvel ain't missing. And that was back in the day when Marvel wasn't missing.
And the fact that they were willing to like, and I get that it was pre-Disney. And so you had like a different philosophy, but that they were willing to let multiple different like creative offices take a stab at it. It was.
Yeah. And even with their movies too, like, different directors and stuff, but it's just like, this is how you got. I mean, I feel like they made like subgenres almost. Like,
yeah, they did.
You got phase 1 and phase 2, and it's just like, okay, you got something like Iron
so
Man,
the last digit is 4. Sorry, real quick.
No, you're fine.
Should
I write some stuff down?
No, it's just nurses, doctors, trees, and so we got to find the pictures here. All right, 2 doctors. So something 2 4. Then we just need the nurses. Here we go. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. So 7 2 4.
Okay.
All right, now go on.
remember that. What the fuck was I talking about? Batman?
Yeah.
Oh, Marvel.
Marvel.
What do you call it? That it was just like Guardians of the Galaxy. I feel like every space adventure since Guardians of the Galaxy is Guardians of the Galaxy, basically.
I know.
Like, whether it comes video games or movies or shows.
I think that's
like,
why the Eternals...
It was very influential.
Yeah. I think that's why the Eternals flopped as hard as it did, is like, we already had a, interstellar Marvel property, and it was a lot more fun than the Eternals.
Yeah, I haven't watched the Eternals.
I did, and like, I saw some strength. Like some of the visual imagery was really striking and really good.
Yeah.
But overall, it was boring. It just like the cast wasn't as engaging, and like I said, we'd already seen like kind of the cosmic side of the Marvel universe, and so like the Eternals. And they never quite answered like the really big question, other than like a throwaway line of "we must not interfere." But like when Thanos snapped half of reality out of existence, didn't one of the Eternals think to just step in and like cut his head off or something?
Yeah. And it also like it's kind of that line to walk of which I haven't watched the Eternals, but yeah, if you're introducing these gods,
they are, and that's what they are, is essentially gods.
It does kind of beg the question. It's like, okay, why do we care about the street level? Why do we care about Iron Man and Captain America? Like,
right.
The stakes don't seem as high.
No.
And Captain Marvel flirted with that, but ultimately, I think
Marvel
they did a good job.
Like, Captain Marvel was actually a fun movie to watch.
Yeah. Oh, it was, definitely. I haven't watched the sequel yet. Or was it The Marvels? I think. That came out, right?
Yeah, but like, I don't think I saw that one, honestly. I watched a little bit of Miss Marvel.
Yeah.
And I couldn't get into it, which sort of sucked because I love what she represents as a character.
Oh, is she getting attacked?
Oh.
Yeah, she is.
Oh, crap. Oh, shit, it's behind me.
Oh, shut up, Maria.
Damn it, Maria.
You
good?
Oh, does she have a health bar?
I think if you like let her get attacked long enough, she can go down.
No, James, I'm not.
Ooh, crap.
Not
We're getting the
at all.
D ending.
Okay, right? Maybe.
Sorry.
I actually don't think that it matters, but yeah.
But it makes you feel bad, shit.
Right? Because she is this universe's stand-in for his wife, so. Or like his idealization of his wife. Yoink.
Yeah, I didn't watch any of Miss Marvel yet. It sucks because that's what I've heard from most people, is that what I've heard is it's just kind of boring.
Yeah,
and that's really unfortunate.
And, I also kind of, how like the older we get, we start to realize we're like not quite the target audience for a lot of these things anymore.
Yeah.
Like less than the fact that it was a show about a teenage girl, and like going through like the challenges of being a superhero in high school.
Mm-hmm.
It was also just the fact that it was like, how do you do this without like sounding ageist? It was so Gen Z that like I couldn't wrap my head around some of the humor, because like even like the quote unquote dated jokes like came and went since I've been in college,
Yeah.
And so like
man, that's sad.
Like part of it was just like I felt irrelevant watching it.
Yeah.
Like which is my fault, not the makers of the show. Like for the right audience.
It's Time's fault.
For the right audience, like it had good acting, the special effects were cool. It was kind of a really neat way to show like the Marvel universe from the street level again, and yeah, it was like I can see all of its strengths. It's solely that like I'm nowhere near the age group for whom like this kind of humor would be relevant. And that doesn't make it bad humor. It just means like, I'm not in high school, and that's okay.
It's yeah. That's unfortunate. Because I also is it Kamala Khan? Is that her name?
Yeah, Kamala Khan.
I like her as a
She's a
hero.
great
you know?
character. She's an awesome character, and
just when it comes to powers,
and she represents a you know, a really underrepresented both ethnic and gender group in superheroes, which are you know, any kind of brown woman just does not get center stage the way they should.
No.
And she breaks that mold, which is awesome. But like the fact that she's 15 and, you know, just like in this place in life where I haven't been for such a long time, and like all of like the like I said, more the humor than anything, but
yeah,
everything concerning that show is just like written for a much younger crowd than me, and I was very keenly aware of it watching that the first part.
Yeah, when it's like you're very aware as you're watching it, yeah, that's tough.
Like, holy crap, I've aged out of this just a little bit.
I also just Kamala Khan for like her powers. It's definitely one of those like off X-Men powers, but it's really cool, and you just want to see like Luffy from One Piece. You know, oh, he's made of rubber. What is that gonna do? And then you see all the cool things they can do. It's like, oh shit, okay.
Well, plus she has like telekinetic crystals that she can control, which is kind of cool. But
oh, okay, I didn't even know that. I just thought she could make any part of her body grow big.
And then, like, you know, the longer Marvel goes on as a franchise too, like, and this has been the problem with the comics too. You get a lot of overlap. Like, how many like metaphors for puberty can you have outside of Spider-Man? You know? Like,
yeah, I get you.
And I get it. Like, you know, Spider-Man's just like, beyond being Spider-Man, he's just a white dude, and not everybody is just a white dude, and so it's good to have these characters that oh shit,
oh damn,
one is fine, two, I gotta get my gun out. Get out of there, James. Hold on. Wait, maybe I don't need my gun. Maybe I'm just a badass, Max.
Okay, well now she's grateful. All of a sudden, James is not sorry for before.
Yeah, right.
How about you have a pipe, huh? Do you have a pipe? No. Okay.
Right. But yeah, but then there's also the fact that like Spider-Man is just like my favorite superhero, bar none.
Oh yeah.
I
mean, Batman comes close,
Spider-Man.
Especially as I get older. I like the fact that Batman doesn't have a power, but he is just. I mean. Yes, money is kind of his power, but at the same time, it's really his intellect and his just passion. I mean, sometimes it's just anger.
Well,
you know,
discipline.
He definitely. Yeah, there's that too, but it's just like, and
like
he's
the
able
fact
to.
That he is able to like maintain his control and his code in spite of all this crazy shit.
And I like Batman centered in Gotham, where it is more just like Batman centric stories.
Yeah.
But when they do crossovers and stuff, you know, when he's able to like go toe to toe with like Superman or something, I'm always just like, fuck yeah.
Because like you're rooting for like the human over like the invincible deity, essentially. Right?
Yeah, exactly. And it's just like, okay, I dig that. Yeah. But yeah, Spider-Man will always is going to be my number one.
Yeah, and a large part of that is nostalgia, but the other part is just like, again, kind of like what the character represents, which is like the, you know, just middle class, ordinary person who just kind of like inherits these powers and is thrust into this situation. Yeah,
for sure. It had some cool games. I mean, these days, obviously, like the best kind of games.
Yeah, go on.
With Insomnia. It's funny though, like what we grew up with when it comes to the comics, Spider-Man was going through some weird stories, and I'm very partial. I love the 90s Spider-Man, like Clone Saga, Ben Reilly, all that shit, and it's kind of reviled, you know, a lot, but people saying like the clones were weird and stuff. But I thought I love that shit because it was the first time I saw something so different from like the golden era of comics,
and like,
it was like whoa.
What I think I liked most about like those 90s side, like I guess nowadays we'd call them side stories, but like alternate universe stuff, they were not afraid to get really freaking weird.
No, they were weird.
Like I think that was like why the 90s are as nostalgic for me as they are, is that everything just had such like this grungy weirdness to it, and I loved it.
Yeah. I wonder if that's like being born in the 70s and growing up at the 80s was like. Because
Maybe.
the 80s was a thing. It was its own identity
Yeah.
for sure. Which I guess every decade is like that, but
Yeah.
yeah.
You know what's weird though is like, I mean, I don't know. It's kind of weird because we were teenagers and young adults during this, but like the early 2000s, like, was kind of. I don't know if I could like point to like a definitive look for that era and be like, oh, that's what the 2000s was. Maybe like the frosted tips and like the torn up jeans, but
there's something like the, but even like the tight jeans and stuff was more the aughts, you know, maybe late, or the teens, or maybe the late aughts. But yeah, the 2000s, I kind of feel like much like the 90s, the early 90s were just the 80s.
Yeah.
I feel like up until like 2003 or something, it was still just like the 90s.
Yeah.
You know?
That's a good point. Yeah, because a lot, especially like growing up, like when we were in high school right after 9/11, and I feel like culture just kind of like hit the pause button while we all just were proud to be Americans again.
Yeah, that's true.
Kind of like COVID, honestly. That's probably what.
That's also
what that generation is going to remember about their teenage years. Like, hey, remember when time just like freaking stood still for a little bit?
Yeah, and the thing is like kids, every single year is just such a different section of their life.
Yeah.
You know, and for us, it's kind of like, what was I doing 4 years ago? Well, a lot of what I was doing right now, you know. But like for kids, freaking, you know, 7th grade compared to 9th grade is totally different. Like,
so comfy.
Whatever you say,
Maria, like, wow.
Just pops some pills and goes to sleep. Yeah, you know what? I'm gonna go take a look around.
Okay.
God, I'm never gonna name any names, but have you ever dated someone who's just like a total fucking mess? Like you're basically like James in this scene. You're like, you know what'd be great is if we just like took some antidepressants with half a bottle of vodka. You know, I don't think it's gonna work out.
I can't say I have. I've had friends like that, though.
Okay. Maybe I was just a bigger slut back in the day, but
Soon, okay.
I'm thinking of one very specific person, like near the end of college, like where I was just like, "Oh God, what am I doing? Why am I with you?"
I've also had friends who have dated that girl.
Right? We are not the same person. We are not compatible on a fundamental level. I remember situations exactly like that, where literally, like, it's like, "Hey, I kind of want to be with somebody right now, and do you want to talk?" No, let's just pop pills and watch a movie. I'm like, that doesn't sound fun to me anymore. Like, not that it ever did. Like, I never, like, the only proper drug I ever tried was weed, and that was like a phase for me.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I don't know. It was just one of those things where like it was like I was outside of my body watching myself. I'm like, I'm literally spending my Friday night making sure you don't overdose, and I'm not having fun.
Yeah.
You know, it's like,
yeah, that is not fun.
No,
definitely. When it's that bad, no.
Yeah, that was not a good time.
That sounds like, yeah, like you said,
but that scene for some reason reminds me of where James just like, yeah, you know what, lay down. I'm just gonna go have a look around the building.
Let me take a break from you.
So, hey, I want to conclude our Marvel talk here by saying, before I forget that I wanted to say it, weirdly, the more modern series that I enjoyed most was actually freaking She-Hulk.
Oh, yeah? Okay, I haven't watched that one.
I loved She-Hulk.
Okay. What did you like about it?
Jennifer was such a fun character. And, first nurse. What I dislike about them is they have such reach.
Oh, yeah, and super armor. Fuck that.
Yep.
Oh, fuck that.
Yeah. Yeah, like, you have to get the timing of that dodge down, and it's been a minute for me. Okay, so She-Hulk. I thought the story was like it took kind of like the Deadpool meta sort of thing.
Yeah.
And it did it in a really fun way. And I think more than anything, just like seeing like a kind of burnt out by their career early to mid 30s character take center stage, like this actually did feel like it was written for me. Like there were nods to like Seinfeld and Friends and just like other, just kind of fun, not gimmicks, but like nod winks to its audience.
Okay.
And so like if Miss Marvel was designed to bring like a generation of like high schoolers, maybe like largely from like a racial or ethnic group that has been horribly misrepresented in film into the series, like I feel like She-Hulk was more written for
no.
Wow, hello. For losers like me.
He went to go find you.
I guess I'll crawl back out here and fight him.
I didn't realize they could do that.
Neither did I.
Sorry, I was hearing him.
It's cool. We're cool. We're cool now.
Oh, go ahead.
Oh, hey, there's another one. But yeah, She-Hulk, I felt, and that's kind of the fun thing about Marvel is that as like the comics, they're constantly being written for a variety of audiences. And I feel like Marvel, like the cinematic universe, could be the same thing. I feel like their weakness right now, though, is that they're trying too hard to figure out and recapture what made the Infinity Saga so successful.
Yeah, that's...
And so I feel like they're just kind of like throwing stuff at the walls right now to see what sticks.
I gotcha. Which is like... Yeah, I was going to say maybe that's a little bit of what they were doing in the Infinity Saga, but not really. It seemed like they had such a clear, direction, even though so many of the movies were different. Like, what do you call it? You got your spy thriller, you got your space adventure and stuff. But they knew what they wanted to be.
I really liked most of the Infinity Saga, but it's also... I hate, like, what MAGA culture does to things that I enjoy. Like it'll take things like Batman or Iron Man or like those superheroes, and I'll make like, hey, remember when white guys could just be the heroes all the time and like we were always and nobody questioned it because of course like we needed a strong like white dad figure to guide us through life tough times. That wasn't actually the message, and like I don't care how bad you wanted that to be the message. That was not the point of Captain America and Iron Man, right? Like,
yeah.
I think their white maleness was supplementary at best to their superhero identities, right?
I think it's also
like, it's just like the guys wrote white males because they were white males who wrote these originally, right?
Yeah.
And so, like, of course, that's who they wrote because that was their vantage point. But the bigger the universe gets, the more diverse the creatives involved in it become, and consequently, so should the heroes that are represented. And I think that She-Hulk is brilliant because even though I'm not, a woman, I am, like a middle-aged career person who's like, kind of starting to feel like, hey, where's life going, right?
Yeah.
And I thought it was so cool to see like a character in that exact same life space who like suddenly and unexpectedly develops like superpowers, like, oh, okay, life's gonna throw me a new curveball and here's how I'm gonna deal with it. Like I thought that was great. And people hated it because it was meta and because it leaned into feminism, which I thought were strengths of the series.
Yeah, I gotta watch She-Hulk. All right, you're convincing me a little bit.
I love She-Hulk, like unapologetically.
Sucks about
like the critiques that you could maybe level against. Like some of the humor could sometimes be a little chintzy, but like intentionally so. It wasn't like I'm trying to be funny and you just don't get it. It was a lot of nod wink kind of stuff. Damn it.
Oh, 3? Damn.
Yeah.
The enemy's stepping up a little bit.
Mark Ruffalo being in it was so great because one, it's Mark Ruffalo and he's just a great actor.
Yeah.
But then two, like the way that he played it, like his character in that wasn't like, like, now Jen, don't forget who the real Hulk is. It's like, hey, I've been through this before, but I recognize that your situation is different, and I want to just kind of like support you however I can. And
Jen is what, his cousin?
I'm happy to take the back seat in this one. And I thought that was great. Like,
yeah,
make way for the new character and pay tribute to the one that came before it in like kind of this neat way that shows him in a new light too. That was really cool. And people hated it because it's like, oh, Hulk is a cuck now. Fuck you. Right?
Okay, white people are not going anywhere because weirdly enough, like every Marvel show and movie that comes out, I still see white people in them.
Yeah, right. It's almost
even
like
if
we're
they're not the main character
being replaced by other people getting their turn.
Yeah.
Right?
Two, it's also, I mean, just so much of that is typically like a lot of racism. It's not so much.
It is.
Yes,
it was racism and sexism that.
Yeah. It's not so much the hatred, which obviously it's a big part of it, but it's also just like the fear of I'm not going to have as much as I have right now. The world is not 100% catered to me. Why do I have to think about these things now?
Which is only a problem, let's be real, which is only a problem when you don't have enough. Like, white dudes, and again, I'm not like a self-hating white dude or anything, right? But like I can fully acknowledge that in my lifetime, I've had such a glut of media properties all starring guys who look just like I do, only in better shape. That like I couldn't possibly watch them all. Right?
True, for sure.
And not only that though, it gets kind of boring, like seeing the same archetype play out for the 30th time. Like, it's kind of cool for me as a white guy to learn a little bit about like a culture or a slice of life that I never would have stopped to consider otherwise. Like, it makes me think, and I feel like watching them, even if like I understand they're not specifically geared towards me, it helps develop like my sense and scope of the world around me. And that's a good thing. Right?
Yeah, for sure.
So like even if She-Hulk is a, piece of feminist culture, does that mean that as a white dude I can't appreciate it? I don't think so.
Yeah. And like Luke Cage, watching that show is like
that was a good one.
The vast majority of it took place in Harlem.
Yeah.
And it's just like, okay, this, it did feel different from most of the other media that I watch. And it's just like, okay, this is and I appreciated that.
Right, like even like something as simple as like Miles Morales as Spider-Man. Like, you think what a departure that is. And the fact that like they don't call him, Black Spider-Man or Nightweb or something, Yeah. Like he's just Spider-Man. That's so awesome. Like
that's what I liked about Insomniacs with
that?
Spider-Man 2 is it's just their picture next to the word Spider-Man, It's like, okay, yeah.
Because, like, since the 1960s, like, little white boys could look up to Spider-Man and be like, this is a guy who looks just like me, and, he's not super rich, and he doesn't have everything going for him. He's just like me, and that's a superhero that I can relate to. And now little black boys and, little Latino boys have that exact same experience. And, like, why would you begrudge them that?
And we're living through a time where the young ones are going to grow up like we did, hopefully. Where when it comes to at least media, that it's just like almost like how we did, take for granted.
There you are.
Which is great, I feel like we've definitely lived through a time where you're getting like teenagers and adults who are just like, it's a new experience to be like, hey, this person looks like me, and they're a fucking superhero and they're fucking awesome. Like that it's great. Novel because they grew up watching, superheroes and loving Batman and stuff like that, but, not looking like them.
Yeah.
And I'll never experience not having that and then suddenly getting that, a drip feed, but is getting better as time goes on.
It is. And
So-
I think that's a really positive thing. Like all the naysayers can, complain that like, oh, it's not like it was when we were kids. I'm like, no, it's better,
Holy shit, lady!
right?
How? What? 6 bullets at
damn it.
least?
But yeah, no, like I fully appreciate like the cultural significance of like the superhero movement, and I hope that like Marvel by and large isn't discouraged by the fact that their franchise isn't as strong as it was, 6 or 7 years ago, and they just like keep trying these things and like I would hate for them to like learn the lesson that like, okay, what we really needed all along was, Robert Downey Jr. and Chris Evans leading the pack. We need like a
Yeah.
strong white male presence, or we're not going to succeed. Because I don't think that's why they're not is succeeding to the degree that they would like to right now. I don't think that's the problem.
No. It's the thing is like, how many things do we have that's like the Infinity War saga?
Right.
Like,
oh, there's
we're
another
gonna
one.
get-
Shit.
oh shit. We're gonna get that like 1 or 2 more times in our lifetime, maybe.
Right.
Like, so the fact that they concluded it,
Yeah.
and then this
That's the
next
thing,
part
it
of it
told
is
its whole
not as
story.
successful.
Like if you don't like She-Hulk or Miss Marvel, you've got fucking 45 hours of, Captain America and Thor and Hulk and Iron Man to
Yeah,
watch.
seriously.
Like, no one's taking that away.
No,
And let's be
it's-
real, like, there's always going to be, like, animated features and, like, callbacks and things. Like, those characters aren't going anywhere. And, like,
No,
you think
they're
Disney
even
is
getting
foolish
Robert
enough
Downey
to let
Jr.
those
back.
properties expire?
No.
We're going to see another Iron Man and Captain America movie. Like, get over
Yeah.
yourself.
Speaking of, what do you call it? I am excited, like seeing the trailer for the what the fuck is it called? The new Captain America movie. I don't know if you've seen that trailer.
I've
It's
not
like,
yet.
I don't,
But
it's
it's
pretty
with
good.
Sam. Crap. What's his name?
I don't know his last name.
The actor for the new Captain America. He's awesome.
Anthony Mackie.
Anthony Mackie. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, in the
Um,
movie, his name is Sam.
plays
Right?
Sam, yeah.
Sam something.
And Harrison Ford is the president for some reason, but okay, cool. He's played
Harrison
the president
Ford
before.
was like born to play Han Solo and the president. I'm sorry.
But basically, yes.
like you need a slightly curmudgeonly, like handsome man for a role. There's Harrison Ford. He'll always
Yeah,
be there
that's
until
true.
he's not.
Always there, always handsome for his age.
Yep. God, I'm so fucking like the older I get, the more jealous I become of Harrison Ford.
Ugh, God, dude, I work
like,
with
it doesn't
people who
matter.
are, I
like
think,
he
are
could
vampires.
be 20 or he could be 70, and it's like his face just works.
One of the nurses I work with, now he's the only other guy I work with, at least at my main job, and he like needs to stave off constantly like patients hitting on him, and for the longest time I thought he was like in his early 40s, and when I first started there, like maybe mid to late 30s.
Yeah,
And the dude's 50, and I'm just like,
Nuh-uh.
what the fuck?
I hate
like,
that.
he's and I think that sometimes, I mean, there's good genes. He's also Filipino, which I know a few Filipino people that just look 10 years
Filipino
younger
people
than
are
they are.
attractive, Yeah,
They age well,
they're
apparently.
just good looking. Yeah, it's not fair.
But it's
I've started to put like a lot more work. Like, I've never been like sloppy with my grooming, but I've like started to be a lot more deliberate in like kind of cultivating a look and appearance. And I've noticed like I'm not like full of myself like, oh, I'm super hot. But like I'm comfortable for the first time probably since I was 20 and like had a swimmer's body with like how I look. And that's
Yeah.
kind of a nice feeling.
you say like putting more effort in, but as long as I've known you, and maybe it's just also the professionalism of your career,
Yeah.
is you've always dressed pretty smart, like, and as far as grooming and everything, you did, I feel like, more than the bare minimum for sure.
Thank you.
You know,
baby.
certainly more than me when it comes to like, you keep on top of your shaving and stuff, and me, like right now I have, yes, the beard,
Oh,
but
I've-
also
Go on.
the neck beard. Like,
Yeah.
I have not trimmed it up. you know.
So I've that was actually part of it. I have decided that my look is kind of more close cropped hair, like instead of like the messy like 20-year-old just got out of bed kind of thing that I hung on to for way too long. I've done kind of like a more close cropped, like swept over look, not like a Trump comb over, but just like, you know, parted.
No,
And
which,
then,
which
like,
is normal.
A super tight beard. Like that's what I'm rocking right now.
Oh, okay.
So like it is a beard, like it goes all the way across my face, but I get rid of the neck and like I keep it really short because like my facial hair just like kind of tends to be like more wiry.
Me too.
And
like
so
to
like
the
if
point where
if I let it get longer than this, it looks really like the hairs are super dark and super thick, but they're spaced out. So like it looks kind of patchy and unkempt. Like really easily.
Yeah, mine could look unkempt really easily too. So I gotta one, when I'm actually doing a beard, I will shave it like typically like a little bit below the jawline, but if I want it real tight, like right at the jawline.
Yeah.
And then obviously taking a clipper into like probably 7 millimeters or so, and kind of shaving it all down to that. Mine, I could never do like, as in like I'm physically incapable of doing like the beard that comes down, white guy, like Southern General style.
Yeah.
Mine is more, if you see like Middle Eastern men, that it puffs out.
I feel you. Yeah.
Mine will just continue to puff out forever.
Okay, I do know what you're talking about.
But
and like, all of this is to say that like it took me longer than I would have liked to arrive at the place where like instead of desperately trying to turn back the clock and look like I did when I was, you know, in my early 20s, like to just find a new look and be and like really lean into my age a little bit more. And that's so nice like I feel like this last year that's been kind of like one of my goals is to, you know, update my fashion sense a little bit and really pick like a hair, face, beard look instead of like deluding myself into thinking I'm going to somehow get my, you know, more athletic body back. Like I can drop a few pounds, but I'm never going to be like, you know, thin and cut like that.
Like the swimmer's body, like you said.
Yeah, exactly. Instead of just finding like a look that works for, you know, my kind of dad era.
Yeah. Which I get you. And you can look good doing that.
Yeah,
people
absolutely.
who take care of themselves like that and lean into what their body is doing.
And that's exactly right. That more than anything has been the lesson that I've tried to learn. It's less about like meeting a standard and more about just caring for yourself.
And it's also like when you're doing that, you can be really happy. Like you said, it's that for me, there are some things that I do want to go back to. Not my, you know, high school, college weight, but I definitely want to drop a few pounds. I know I
just
can
for
do
your
better
health,
than where I am right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, absolutely. Like
when it comes
I'm curious to see like if I could get back down into like say the low 150s or so, you know, like would my blood pressure be a little better? You know,
I gotcha.
Just that kind of stuff.
For me, it's like you were talking about the hair, and that was a big thing. Is like, yes, I use Rogaine. I was using finasteride for a while.
You actually inspired me a little bit. Like I saw how good it was looking on you. I was like, ooh, shit, I should check with my cardiologist to make sure it won't like spike my blood pressure and get back on Rogaine. And I did.
Yeah.
It made no difference in my blood pressure, but my hair is definitely thicker.
That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the thing is consistency with it, and it's pretty easy. You know, it's
right.
not too hard to do. You know.
Yeah.
But the thing is, even with that, like for way too long, because like you, a lot of actually pretty much all of my childhood, high school, and college, I rocked the messy long hair. Not like super long, but obviously like just the mop of hair on your head getting to your eyes and stuff.
Yes.
And
same.
I wanted to be able to do that again.
But even if we could, it would look silly, right? Because we're 30-somethings.
Yeah, because one, it would look silly, and two, when your hair's thinning, it just looks bad.
Yeah.
You know? And once I started, like, it's been years experimenting with shorter hair, and being like, oh, this could actually look pretty good. And like only recently, within the last like literally maybe year and a half, 2 years, have I like really accepted like, hey, I look better with short hair now.
Dude,
and like
acceptance feels so great.
it does. Holy shit. I'm not trying to, sound simple right now, but it's just like it has really changed. It used to be like, oh my god, I'm never going to look like this again, and now it's just like, oh, I didn't realize I could look this good.
Nor should I necessarily, right?
Yeah, you can make make what you have look good.
Right, that's exactly right. Like you can look better if you take care of yourself and like treat yourself with respect, right?
And because I wasn't looking as good as I wanted to with the longer hair, I thought it was just a losing battle. And it's just like, oh no, actually, short hair actually looks good on me.
Yeah, you can be sexy, man. Hell yeah.
And doing new things. Like I was always clean shaven most of the time. I experimented with a goatee in college, but for high school and most of college, I was clean shaven. And now I experiment with the beard all the time. I like having, like kind of the jawline beard where it's just like, no, I look rugged.
That's like I said, that's what I'm rocking, and I actually like it a lot more than I thought. It's more work to maintain,
for sure.
But I think it's worth it.
And it's also kind of fun. I don't know,
I feel more confident.
combing your beard. And I used to do oil, and now I realize like I produce enough oil. I do not need to.
You're good,
that. Yeah. But yeah, maintaining it is actually part of the fun for me too.
It is like if you make a ritual out of it, it can be like it builds confidence.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like how the common thread running through all of this has just been like how not to be a toxic man.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
Right? Like in the media that you consume, like enjoying the fact that you're not the center of the universe, and then like as you get a little bit older too, like realizing that you don't have to conform yourself to like what looks good on a 20-year-old because you're not going to be 20 forever, and that's okay.
Yeah. And now I'm interested in being like a cool 40-year-old coming up.
Yeah, honestly, that's kind of where I am. Like, I'd much rather be like that, late 30s, early 40s guy who's like perfectly at peace with himself and like is kind of like an inspiration to younger guys entering that phase. It's like, hey, yeah, like you don't have to be irrelevant or look like a schmuck constantly just because you're not 150 pounds of pure muscle anymore.
Yeah. And also just like, finding happiness in yourself and the things that you like.
It's a good time.
Like there's nothing wrong with that.
Absolutely.
Hey.
How's the drugs?
She's been rested easy.
Actually, I just remembered. This whole scenario right here is what got us on this topic.
It's come full circle now.
But no, honestly, like in a weird way, I'm a little bit thankful for that like 2.5 week relationship because like it really kind of made me think more like,
James,
maybe I'm not going to be 22 forever and should think more about like what I actually want.
It's very sweet of you.
Instead of just like clinging to whatever toxic person will have me.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. You were talking about. Oh, what the hell were we talking about? It was a while back.
So yeah, we were doing Batman, then we transitioned to Marvel, and then masculinity and how it's not dependent on, like having all the franchises to ourselves.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's also like some reason I had in my head, like just some of the things I did. I mean, as a teenager and stuff, but also as a young adult. That it's just like, I've grown, and it kind of I think it was when you were talking about you're not a self-hating dude, you're not a self-hating white dude, but you can also learn and grow, and be like, you know what, I can recognize my privilege and recognize I've had a glut of media that was centered on people who look like me, and that's cool, but you can also have other things and learn about people you care about that it's just like, oh shit, their life that I don't know about is actually pretty different and things I don't know. But yeah, you learn and you grow. I think about some of the things that I would say and how I acted where you're like trying a lot of new things out as you're growing, and it's just like, I don't know. I feel I think it's when you enter the part of adulthood that it really is, you realize if you are totally yourself.
Yeah, you stop caring so much about like what other people think or like what the cultural norms are, and just like start pursuing what you enjoy.
And weirdly, it's just like the people who are down with that stick around.
They do, yeah.
And
they actually appreciate you as a person for it.
Yeah. And
I totally forgot I have a shotgun.
Yeah, basically, yeah, you stop worrying so much about the people you don't know and strangers and how you look to them. And it's just like, no. People start acting just more like themselves, caring a little bit less, you know, and they're not showboating, what's the word? They're not fronting as much.
Yeah.
And you're just happier that way.
Yeah, it's amazing. Like I said, acceptance just feels so good.
Yeah, does. Seriously.
like spending every waking moment like trying to recapture parts of your youth or things like that. It's just it's so fruitless and frustrating.
I just want to talk.
For sure. You'll be a good dad when it comes to the teenage years of your boys.
I hope so.
You know, because it's going to be.
We had parent-teacher conferences tonight, and that made me feel pretty good.
Oh yeah, wait, dude. So we started at 8:00 your time. Okay, gotcha. All right. I was like, how early was that? But
so it was like Connor's was like right as school let out at 3, and then Michael's was at 5.
That is early.
Fine, we're just gonna stand there like a chump.
That's awesome though, just to hear about how your kids are doing.
Yeah, honestly,
unless you have one of the shitty ones, but yeah. I know your kids are great.
No, and, you know that's not to say they don't have things that they can improve on. Like
like most kids.
But like just to hear that they're like good friends and they care about other people and they're respectful of teachers and they try in class, like it's that's such a good.
I have
feeling.
To imagine that's the greatest. I have to imagine,
right?
It's just like, we're raising some good ones,
developing into good little people.
Yeah. Oh, stop that!
Right?
You stop that right the hell now.
Stop that Jacob's Ladder shit.
Oh, that's another one. I actually own that movie. Just because, as far as male crushes, Jake Gyllenhaal. I'll watch anything with Jake Gyllenhaal once, but
it's a good film. I couldn't do it a second time.
Oh, is it? Oh, it's one of those like Breaking Bad. I don't think I could watch that show a second time. As fantastic as it was. I don't know if you watch Breaking Bad.
Honestly, Jacob's Ladder was a movie that straight up broke me when I saw it for the first time.
Oh, wait a second. I'm sorry. I think I'm thinking of Jarhead.
You must be. I was gonna say I didn't think Jake Gyllenhaal was in that. He would have been like 14 when that movie came out.
Okay, gotcha. I don't know what Jacob's Ladder is then.
Jacob's Ladder is the inspiration for the creatures behind this movie. It is a horror film, but it's a extremely cerebral horror film where like this guy he came back from Vietnam and he's just like more and more losing his grip on reality, and he starts like seeing these like demonic visions of like essentially creatures that look like this.
Oh, that sounds horrible and horrifying.
Oh, it's worse than horrifying because like the movie, its whole thing is the unreliable narrator. You're never sure what is real and what is just part of his breakdown.
Yeah.
And do you care about a spoiler?
Oh no, actually.
The twist at the ending is that he never made it out of Vietnam. His platoon got like caught in crossfire and he got shot, and like the whole movie as you've been witnessing is like the fever dream of his dying moments.
Oh damn.
Yeah, it's dark as shit.
just like one of the Silent Hill 1 endings. It's an extremely
like visually striking movie and it's well made, but like like when I saw it I was just like I'm not like I don't know if I'll ever be in the headspace for it.
Since we're spoiling stuff, as far as some of the monsters and hallucinations, were they like tied to war in a way where it's just like people, have fucking, white phosphorus on them burning away their skin or something? Or was it just like monsters?
I'm trying to think. It's been a while.
Now, because I don't respond to things appropriately, now I'm interested in watching it. But
yeah,
yeah,
no, I mean,
it sounds
it's
like
worth watching. But like I said, it fucked me up. Like when I saw it, like it was really, I don't know what it was specifically about it. I think it may have like tapped into kind of like a subconscious fear of mine of like maybe like Alzheimer's or losing my grip on reality.
Okay.
But in a way it speaks to the movie's strength, because that kind of horror is the most effective kind of horror for me. I'm not interested in like just blood and guts horror.
Yeah.
Like just gross for the sake of gross. Like that that doesn't do anything for me. Like it's not like I'm so offended that I can't watch it. It's just more like, I'd rather not be watching this.
Yeah, no, I get it. Something that just makes you feel bad, but without thinking or staying with you in a thoughtful way, like art does. Gore fest and stuff. Yeah, I'm not interested in that either. It just makes me feel bad and makes me feel sorry for people because I don't like seeing people in pain.
Right.
You know.
But Jacob's Ladder, again, it was definitely a more artsy film, and it was extremely effective as horror. Like so effective that, like I said, I'm not sure that I could watch it again without like someone there to give me a nice warm hug.
I get you.
Just because it's so oppressive and like deliberately so.
Yeah.
Like dude is just losing everything around him, and like nothing makes sense and nothing is real and everything is happening all at once. It's like, shit, stop.
Yeah. And as horrible as that is, thankfully I have to imagine most of the time your last moments in death would have to be the opposite of that.
I hope so.
Just because when it comes to, near-death experiences and stuff, just because people have such similar things, it really just seems like the brain is just heavily dosing you with dopamine and stuff.
Yes,
and just
it is.
Being like
it
dude,
doesn't...
man, here's heaven, dude.
Yeah. And honestly, that was actually another thing that, kind of one of my goals for this year is to, not obsess so much over my health and, elongating my life, but just enjoying whatever life I have, just kind of having that outlook.
That's a nice
but at the
goal.
same time, every once in a while I'll still philosophize on death, and when I do, I'm always of the mind that when I die, I don't want to know I'm dying.
No, I get you.
Give me the drugs, baby. Give me give me the hospice treatment with the nice soft bed and
heck yeah,
pleasing music. And
I mean, there's some things
drift off quietly.
There's some things that I realize I enjoy so much in life.
Yeah.
That it's just hey, one, there's just some good things in life, man.
Totally.
But two, I mean, good video games, seeing a Resident Evil 2 remake, just having your dreams come to life. It's this is fucking awesome.
Right.
But two, it's also, I could leverage dying. If I got a terminal diagnosis or something, be you know what I really love? I love back rubs. I love massages.
Right.
I'd be hey, I'm in the hospice
shoulders were a
now.
little tense today.
Yes, give me all the hospice drugs, but also could I get a masseuse once a week just to looking forward to
and the answer most likely, if your insurance is good, will be hell yeah.
Is yeah. Also, hey, you're dying. No, of course we'll do that. And it's just sweet. You know what?
Right.
Not a bad trade-off.
Yeah. That's exactly right. And
a good
I said,
massage is awesome.
I spent so much of my early 30s thinking oh God, I'm not young anymore. I've got to do this. I got to do that. I got to extend this thing as long as I can. I got to starve myself. I got to, recapture that youthful sexiness or whatever. That's a losing game.
And it's so weird where it's just you can kind of know something intellectually but not accept it, not feel it.
Correct.
Because you really got to feel it in your bones before it's just oh.
Yes.
Where someone could say, yo, you're not living, Chris. If you're obsessing over that.
I became frustrated with myself for spending so much time thinking about these things and them bearing no fruit, either in terms of progress, because no matter how hard you try, of course, the physical reality is you cannot turn back the clock. And like you said, you academically know that, but like your brain is like always trying to disagree with you. Like, no, I can absolutely get back to, you know, my 2005 weight.
Yeah.
And
or there's just the fear there that doesn't go away, even if you know better. Right. It's just like, okay, no,
but then when,
fine.
Once again, when knowing becomes accepting, it just changes your whole outlook, and you just feel like liberated by it. It's great.
Yeah. I always heard growing up, it's just, oh, it's a matter of perspective, and it's just like, yeah, your brain shapes your reality. And as you get older, typically, of course, there's people who are older and depressed and anxious, and, you know, that stuff never goes away completely. But, yeah, acceptance is a wonderful thing. And just the perspective, like, your brain, that it can act in certain ways and, like, just shape your, like, what's going on in Silent Hill right now?
Right. Yeah, totally. Yeah, I don't know. Like, I don't know why I'm in a philosophical mood tonight. Maybe it's just because, like, I just got over a really unpleasant illness. But
yeah,
stuff like that just helps you recalibrate and, I don't know. Yeah, I think I've said my piece on all of this for tonight, and
yeah, for me, it's like maybe you spent long enough. Maybe you had to go through the shit, you know?
Right.
You spent long enough obsessing and realizing, like, you know, yes, this feels bad. Oh, you're trying to feel better, and you're trying to change things, and that can succeed for a while.
Right, and there's a right way and a wrong way to go about it.
Yeah, for sure. Like, don't starve yourself. But I get you.
And
I do that
think,
in college.
Like, despite everything, like where I've landed in 2024, and you know, like 2024 has not been like the world's greatest year for me. Yeah. But like, despite that, it kind of made me more determined to change my outlook on certain things. And I think that's kind of where I've landed. Is I would say that I'm more content than I was a year ago, which is great.
That's great. That is.
Yeah.
And maybe you got to go through the anxious stuff to like be like, oh, you know what?
Right.
Just accepting this feels different. This feels
and yeah, that's kind of what you're saying is exactly right. I kind of wish it didn't take my father dying to help me reevaluate those things.
Yeah.
But okay, cool. That's the keypad. Diagonal left. But at the same time, that's part of the human process, right? Like,
yeah.
There's always one more lesson to be learned, even from like the worst possible things that can happen to you.
Yeah. It's just like, it would be great if we were like the super space babies from 2001. Right. But it's just like, even if you know something, because maybe people you trust and love tell you, and it's just like, yeah, it seems like they're right. But it doesn't feel that way, you know. Sometimes you got to go through something,
to honestly,
put it in perspective.
That was one of the big things that made me consider these a little bit. Was like, you know, okay, I've learned the lessons I'm going to learn from my dad. How can I be more like what were the characteristics about him that I admired most? And I kind of kept coming back to the place of like, he never gave two shits about what anyone else thought of him. He always did what was best for him and for his family, and never thought twice about it. And like that was, and again, that's like, I realized, oh, I'm the exact opposite. I'm constantly, you know, thinking about like external stuff and like how I appear to others, and you know, like, am I doing enough with my time instead of just like enjoying it?
Yeah.
And so
that's interesting.
That was kind of an eye opener for me.
Thinking about that as an adult now, and it's just like, it sounds like you appreciated that as a kid. Maybe not appreciated because you're a kid and perspective, but you liked that, it sounds like.
Yes.
That's just like, dad takes care of me, you know?
Right. Absolutely.
Speaking of your dad living on in certain ways, he definitely something Addie and I do, and it's just like, oh, this came from Mr. Beck. This came from Dave.
That's awesome.
It was if you remember this, just saying Final Fantasy, like Final Fantasy.
Oh my God, yes! When he took Terra's theme, the most freaking iconic soundtrack in that entire game. Final Fantasy. Final Fantasy. That was so great.
I just remember you being like, Dad, stop. Like, okay. Final Fantasy.
You know, and like every time that song plays, I remember that.
Oh yeah, and I swear to God, every time I play Final Fantasy, you know, I say Final Fantasy. that's never going away.
Right.
These nurses are definitely taking the drugs. Like
they're on something.
Every single one has like taken 6 of your bullets and doesn't even flinch.
Nope. Fortunately, you have noticed that they are giving me a bit more ammo to compensate, which is nice.
For sure, yeah, thank goodness. They were telling you, use the fucking gun.
Yeah, use the gun.
I don't remember them, and maybe this is why, you know, the trailers were like, hey, you're shooting a lot. Because I don't remember them being this tough.
No,
you know,
but that being said, like, looking back on Silent Hill 2, like, there was definitely, like, a lot of combat in that game. It was just a lot stiffer.
That's true, yeah.
But like it was never just like a, you know, walk through tight corridors and get scared experience. Like,
no,
it was
not
always about the enemies. This just does it better. I hear you over there. Yep, there you are. You're not gonna scare Chris back. You're trapped in here with me.
Nice.
Oh man,
that's another. I think you and
like the turning point in horror games where you're just like another one of those.
Yeah, that was another movie that you and I agree on, and I feel like
Watchmen?
Maybe the vast majority of people don't. Is Watchmen?
I love that movie.
You know what? And it's just like it had its own identity.
Man.
Yeah, it had its own identity. The soundtrack is fucking awesome.
Oh,
like.
Man.
And even
that's a mixed
fucking heresy. I know. I don't care. The ending and you know how that played out makes more sense than the comic does.
It does,
and not even being grounded in reality.
Canon. Like it, it makes more sense because of
it makes more sense
because like the whole, and we've talked about this on the channel before.
Yes,
but like the whole story revolves around the characters, and so to make Dr. Manhattan the willing villain at the end actually makes his actions of leaving the planet make a whole lot more sense.
It makes more sense, yeah.
Yep.
And also, and it's like, did they need a motive like that? No, but it fits, and it's an awesome
better,
take.
Right?
It's an awesome
it's
take.
Less out of the blue than the space squids.
And that told me that they understand. And I read the novel after I watched the movie. But that tells me that they understood the character, actually.
Absolutely.
Because, yes, he would agree to this. He would say, this is logical. This makes sense.
It's logical. That was the beautiful thing about Ozymandias. He was twisted, but he was logical. The world was unraveling itself, and it needed a common threat to hate. Right?
Yeah. There was kind of a continuum of that where it's just like John being pure logical, Dr. Manhattan, Ozymandias also pure logical, and it's just like he had the stomach to do it.
Yes.
You know,
and that doesn't mean you have to agree with it in any way.
Yeah, it's like, is that the right thing? You know, I don't think Thanos was right. I don't think Ozymandias is right.
No. But you're always gonna get like that incel crowd that's like, oh yeah, he was right.
Oh yeah. And then you have like the owl. I don't remember John or something. No, John was Dr. Manhattan.
John was
who
Manhattan,
was like, this isn't
David.
right.
No. Was it David?
Maybe it was David. It's like, this isn't right,
seems like
but I think you got me. Like, this
is... Hal? Hank?
Was it
Hank? It was an H name.
Yeah, I think you're right. And then at the end of that spectrum, you have Rorschach. I cannot say that.
Yeah.
Rorschach, who was like, I don't accept this at all. Like, you're going to have to kill me.
Yep.
Basically.
And they did.
And they did.
And, you know, I think that a lot of people... It was kind of funny because... the HBO series I thought was good because it really engaged with like the crowd who like idealizes Rorschach.
Yeah.
Like it was like, no, you shouldn't idealize Rorschach actually. Like his actions were totally deranged, and what he did from a place of fear.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's not how we should be living. I thought it was really cool that instead of like making like, you know, Rorschach, the new Rorschach group, like the guys who really get everything and they know what's up and we should be like them. No, they actually were these deranged psychopaths.
Yeah. And that is one cool criticism where it's just like, it bothers me maybe just a tiny bit. But I think it may be a fair criticism, even though I don't think it broke the movie whatsoever, was like that the fighting was a little more like over the top, like superhero style.
Yeah.
It was influenced a little bit by like superhero movies,
but I
where
thought
the visual novel's not about the
within
fighting.
the parameters they did it. Yes, it was over the top. But like,
it wasn't gratuitous or anything.
Right.
Like,
not at all. The ultra violence was meant to be jarring. Right? Like when they like broke someone's arm and their bone popped out. It's like, and then in the next scene, they're enjoying a nice dinner, talking about the good old days. It's like, oh, wow. They've been raised in a really fucked up situation.
Yeah. And the generational divide, I think they did very well, you know, in that movie. God, it was a good movie.
it was just I'm not one of those people who thinks that like everything Zack Snyder touches turns to gold, but he really nailed that one.
Yeah, he did.
Wow. Okay.
We're in the basement right now, or are we upstairs?
The 3 bracelets
we're upstairs
here, because we've almost got all 3 of them. Shit. Day room. Okay, I need to go up to the pharmacy.
Oh, he writes some hints on the map?
Yes, he does.
That's interesting. Okay. And realistic.
Hello.
Oh, no.
Hi. Whoa, fuck you. Fuck you for getting back up.
Oh.
Damn. That was creepy as shit.
Okay, she took much less of a beating than all the other nurses.
When enemies get back up, they tend not to be as durable as they once were.
Gotcha.
Okay, here we go.
Oh, that was one of those. That's someone you fought earlier.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, this part sucks just a little bit. Because it's dark and rainy, and you can't fucking see what's going on, but you gotta get over to the pool. Actually, without HDR, I can see a little bit more. This is actually a bit better.
Nice. Too bad Sparks isn't here to enjoy it.
Right? God, she would hate this segment. Maybe we should reward her with some more Dream Daddy. She's been a trooper throughout Silent Hill.
That's true. It's like, yeah, we can bust the voices back out.
I'll have to remember what voices we even used.
Oh, it'll be totally different.
Oh, it'll be totally different. But no doubt, just as bad.
Oh, yeah.
I hear another one. There you are.
Yeah, this part's gonna suck.
Honestly, this was way better than on my fancy HD TV where everything was pitch black.
Which is also like probably pitch black, but then also probably bright as hell in a couple spots.
Yeah, right. I mean, it looked more realistic, but that's what you get from HDR, right? Like you get like what the developers wanted you to feel, which was an enclosed area that you like were disoriented in.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like it's not supposed to make the gameplay easier for sure. Speaking so I am playing the DLC now for Final Fantasy, although now I'm doing Vampire Survivors. I did, and I finished it.
Oh, you beat Omega. All right.
I beat the Echoes of the Fallen in one day. It was it's a short 6 hours or so.
It's a short one, yeah.
But the fight with Omega was fucking awesome. Like,
wasn't it?
One, the song is great. It's weird. And also the music. Also, I'm in Rising Tides, and the music in like the Tower.
Rising Tides, the most perfect DLC.
Oh my god, I'm not that far in it. I only just got to I've done a couple of the side quests in Mysidia.
Yeah.
One, gorgeous.
It is.
The island is gorgeous.
It is. And I think part of that is because, you've been conditioned to, the purple sky and, the oppressive atmosphere that Ultima created.
For sure.
But, yeah, it's beautiful, and it's just well done. Like, I enjoy part of the story in that maybe as much as the main journey.
Yeah. I also love both of these DLCs. It's not like
By the way, they are slightly connected, and you will see that shortly.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I was wondering, just because the 3 guys you interacted with in the first one, I was like, are these people kind of like...
They are.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
And they'll come back, and they'll thank you for what you did.
Sweet.
And that's a nice thing. It's kind of like one of those Witcher side quests where, like, some character that you met, like, 20 hours ago comes back, and it's like, oh, hey, remember how you bailed me out back in Novigrad? Well, here you go.
Cool. I like, and like The Witcher, this reminds me of just, like, I like that Joe's, what the hell?
I thought you were going to say Joestar. Jonathan Joestar.
Joshua and Jill
are
getting a lot of lines, you know?
They are, yeah.
Like, there's a lot of exposition, just like, you know what? I played the game, I beat the game, and I'm not 100% sure of what fate obviously befalls our heroes. I guess spoilers for FF16, slightly. But the fact that after that happened, now I'm getting this exposition that's mostly lighthearted and just kind of interesting. I'm like, aw, they lived a lot before things happened, you know?
It's a very sweet story too. That's what I like about it. And so have you gotten to the point where you know who Leviathan is now?
No, not yet. We're on our way to see him.
I won't ruin that for you, but that's really sweet too. I mean, it's
all I know is he's a baby, apparently.
Oh yeah, okay. So you do know that. So it's tragic, but it's also a really sweet redemption story. You're gonna like it.
Okay. The fight with Omega. Oh my god. Oh, and the other thing I was gonna say is the music. A lot of it is more classic Final Fantasy. It leans that way, and like in both DLCs, and I'm like, you know what? Some of the most memorable music from this game is from the DLCs.
Oh hell yeah!
And then obviously like the epic icon battles, which I'm half and half on those. Like I think they're very epic. And at the same time, they're like, I don't know, they're just not as memorable as. Like, I feel like Final Fantasy 15 had a more memorable soundtrack, for sure.
Really? I was going to argue the opposite. I think, for some reason, 16's battle tracks always got my blood pumping.
They got the regular battle track is like, you know, fine. But when it came to the anything to do with the icons, yes, it got your blood pumping. God, it definitely did that. Like, I don't know how they're going to top just the kind of epic scale that they established with those battles in 16, but they were amazing, like fucking awesome. And part of I wouldn't say the absolute highlight, because I also just really like the characters and the you know, story.
Yes.
But the battles were a highlight for sure. Like I mean, all of them. I will agree with you that I think the Gollum and the Bahamut fights are probably the best ones. But I really liked the Barnabas one as well, especially as he's just like losing his mind in ecstasy more and more as you're fighting him.
He's just like straight up enjoying this shit.
I ended up liking Barnabas's character a lot, and I just thought he was like a one-dimensional stupid villain.
Barnabas was a surprisingly fucked up but cool villain.
Yes, and I didn't think that at first. I was like, he's very one-note, just evil villain that is too, you know, is like just a sycophant for his god. Which, yes, he was for sure, but the kind of, you know, there's the phrase I think from Gandhi: "Lose yourself in the service of others."
Yeah,
I feel like Barnabas kind of encompasses that in a fucked up way,
in his own fucked up way. Yeah,
it's just like look at the. And Mythos, like he's like being angry.
I still want to know what the hell his accent was.
That. His accent? Oh, I don't know.
Like obviously, weirdly, it's all based on like European stuff, but like, what the hell was his accent?
I find it funny and maybe there's more to learn about this tribe, but the Mysidians, they have a name I can't remember, but they originally came from like Southern Ash, but their accents, at least in the English version, are like more northern, which is where they reside now, and they're like Irish, like I don't know if it's like Northern Irish or something, but it's definitely like, okay, this is some Western Hemisphere like northern accents here, you know, definitely not more like Southern. which I know also we're just talking about the twins, and I know
43712.
There's a southern continent that's never explored in 16.
Right. Well, yeah, actually, it's kind of funny because in 16, like, the part of the world you navigate is pretty small.
Yeah, and it's kind of like they say, okay, there used to be airships, but, you know, when it comes to going across the ocean to a different continent, like, almost no one but, like, the most adventurous merchants and, like, Moss the Chronicler did or something.
Right,
like,
yeah.
I find that interesting that they don't. And yeah, but I like Barnabas's character of like being angry at Clive, of being like, "Why don't you share in my ecstasy? You're the one that." There's like a little bit of jealousy there.
Yeah, there is. There's jealousy. Like Barnabas would have killed to be Mythos.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. You know. But he ended up loving that he's playing a part in God's plan, basically.
Yeah. Honestly, he's a zealot, and that's a character archetype that, weirdly enough, for as many times as you kill gods in Final Fantasy, like, that's one that's not, like, super explored when you think about it.
No, not really. I mean, hardly. I mean, there's the Tower of Fanatics in FF6, which, if they did a remake of that game, one, oh my god, my life would be complete. But two, I could see them exploring that a little bit more. Really, you just see the people outside.
I want them to do it in, like, the Octopath Traveler style, though. Like, I don't think I'd want it to look like 7 Remake, because so much of, like, what I envision about that game, I don't know if it would translate 1-to-1 in a fully 3D environment.
One, I don't see how it could, and two, I want to see them try.
It would be neat. Like, I admit it, like, if it could be done to the scale and the ambition of the original, like, it would be really cool, but I have my doubts.
The thing is like, it is kind of hard for me to imagine how they would do most of that game, like, in a realistic, because FF7, I think a lot of that is fantastical as well, and like, oh, how are they going to do this? And they did, even just from the first game, I was surprised how much they brought Midgar to life. You know, just getting to Sector 7 slums the first time, I was blown away.
Absolutely. For all of my critiques about the 7 Remake series, I will say one place where it absolutely succeeds is in the realization of the world.
Yeah.
Like, it's incredible that they've been able to create it almost to scale in modern, like, that was the one thing that I always assumed was going to be impossible about that series is making it into like a accurate representation of the, you know, scope and the just like the feel of the world in the original.
Yeah. And it's good to, I mean, it
Can you
really
take a quick
sounds
cell
like they
phone
succeeded.
snapshot of this?
Yeah, sure thing. Give me one moment.
I mean, I could, but I'd have to reach over there for my phone.
Yeah, fuck that. All right, I got it.
Okay.
I mean, I'll still send it to you if you need.
No, it's fine. I just need you to read me the numbers and the symbols.
Yeah.
Just know what symbol corresponds to what number.
You got it. Zoom in there. Okay. But yeah, it's
okay. So in those symbols, we need 92, 45, 71.
Okay.
Sorry,
92. Are you gonna remember that? 92, 45, 71.
Yep.
Okay.
All right. So what's 9?
It's the Deathly Hollow. We're gonna have fun here. It's the triangle inside of a circle, but then there's a circle and a square inside of the triangle. Right here. Where are we looking? What?
Oh wait, what the hell?
Yeah, there it is. There it is.
Hold on. Okay. So 9.
She said 92.
Okay, now what's 2?
There. 2 is the H-looking thing with a cross.
Got it.
There it is.
45. So 4.
So the male symbol for 4.
Okay. 5.
And a circle with a dot.
All right. 7.
Looks like the devil with a Okay. Dude, wait, do you have it? Oh shit, dude. And 1. Yeah. It's a circle with half of it, and then the other half is halved.
Got it. Okay. Sorry.
Oh, you get me.
I get you, baby. Actually, real quick, I want to show you the rooftop bit.
Okay.
Because it's so cool. Then we'll be done.
What the heck was I talking about?
FF6 as a remake.
How
right. 7 succeeded somehow beyond.
I love to hear that 7 really succeeded with that. And then the world. Just from remake, yes, they succeeded with Midgar. I'm excited to see what they've done with a large swath of the world.
You know, that was the reason I kept sending you guys all those pictures, like devoid of the story or whatever else was going on. Like the main thing that I loved about Rebirth was literally just seeing all these places come to life. It was so cool.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that.
It was well done.
6, I would love to see. That's why with 6, I agree, I would want a 2.5D, but I also want a full remake and see what they do with that, to see just how their imagination
who knows? It could very well be possible.
Or maybe in the future, like, even with more, we could probably do it today, but as computers get more powerful, to have a fully realized Yoshitaka Amano world, but with like ray tracing and that would be fucking amazing. How sick would that be? Oh my god. So yes, I would love to see that with FF6. Also, I would want to see a 2.5.
I thought the Dissidia games were like a good compromise, though. Weirdly enough, I thought that they translated his art style well into full 3D.
They did a really good job with the Dissidia games, and I think there's a lot you can say as far as like what Dissidia did wrong. Yeah. But the look of the characters was not one
spot
of them.
on. Yeah, absolutely.
You cannot fault them for that.
But the thing for me is like 6's world has such a distinct visual identity in my brain.
Yeah.
That they would need to go to great lengths to get. Holy shit!
Oh jeez.
No one was ready for that shit. But they would need to go to great lengths to get that just right. And I think consulting Amano's artwork for like the cityscapes and the backgrounds and everything would need to be done.
Yeah, and that would go a long way, but I agree. There's so much of it that I feel like I've either just invented in my head or just the sprite work in the game itself lends itself to feeling a certain way. And I don't know how they would translate that. I'm not sure. But I feel like it can be done if they're really good and really careful and really love and respect the source material. But I will say there's an RPG I'm thinking of. I don't see how they ever could remake it the whole 7 remake style. That would be Chrono Trigger.
Yeah, I would want it to be more like traditionally turn-based.
Me too, for sure. Like 2.5, I would love to see that for FF6, and I'd love to see a 3D full remake. Chrono Trigger, no, just the 2.5. Give me that. I would love that.
Chrono Trigger, I think that would be a bridge too far with like a full 3D remake.
I don't know how they could.
I think it would lose something.
It would lose something? Like, how could it not? Because if it's like, the only way I could see it is how Dragon Quest kind of does 3D, which is
honestly like Dragon Quest 11 is kind of a good example of like what Chrono Trigger might look like as a fully 3D RPG. But
maybe, but it's still like the world. Like I could see, like how would they do the future? I don't know. Yeah, or even like I don't know. That would be hard. That would be very hard, and I just really can't picture it. It's even though we do literally have Dragon Quest when it comes to that. Akira Toriyama art style.
Yeah.
I don't see it. It's very hard for me to imagine them doing that well.
Absolutely. But you know what? You'll have a lot of time to imagine it between now and next time on Play the Hits.
Alrighty.
We're about to go to the Upside Down Hospital.
Oh, fuck. That's the part I remember.
Oh, it's bad. Honestly, though, it's bad. Like, it's oppressive, but it's a little bit more linear than what we just went through, so it'll be a bit quicker, I think.
All right, cool.
We'll see it next time.
I'll see you next time, buddy.
Yep, have a good night. Good talks.
You too.